The Las Vegas attack in 2017 brings with it more questions than answers. One of the most curious components of this horrible act was the narrative buildup around bump stocks. If you believe the press propaganda, you would be forced to think the killing would have never happened had it not been for these devices that hardly anyone ever talked about prior to October 1st, 2017. Now, the media tells us that bump stocks were the catalyst in this horrible act of murder, but it appears that the FBI referred to prohibited firearms as being the weapon of choice in this attack. Now, the attack took place on October 1st, 2017, and according to a recent tweet by well-known Second Amendment attorney Stephen Stamboulier, the FBI reported the day after, on October 2nd, 2017, that the killer was in possession of prohibited firearms. Now, if bump stocks were the culprit and prohibited firearms were found at the scene, wouldn't one assume there were other NFA firearms present? Now remember, bump stocks hadn't been banned yet, but restricted firearms were found. So shouldn't we inspect the firearms that were found at the scene to see exactly what they're talking about? And was the attack executed with bump stocks, or were there other firearms involved? If there were other firearms used, shouldn't we know more about them? In a PowerPoint presentation by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, it was explained that ATF was not allowed to physically examine the interior of the weapons for machine gun fire control components or known machine gun conversion devices such as drop-in auto sears, lightning links, etc., which were recovered from the Las Vegas killer's hotel room. That's weird, huh? A Freedom of Information Act request filed by Stamboulier, representing firearms designer Len Savage, added even more confusion. According to Len Savage, the ATF FEO had not been able to conduct a full examination of the firearms. He said ATF did not disclose that they had not examined the firearms prior to promulgating the rule. Savage also said, and now that the comment period is closed, that information cannot be used in a court challenge because it was not submitted prior to the closing of comments. So what, nothing else to see here? Well, let's recap. October 1st, 2017, the attack takes place. On October 2nd, 2017, it was reported that prohibited NFA firearms were found. Then bump stocks, which were not prohibited at the time, were blamed, and the bump stock narrative runs wild in the media. According to the ATF, the firearms found on site were not fully inspected prior to the close of comments, and on March 26, 2019, bump stocks are banned. A lot of questions still need to be answered with this disclosure. Now, what if we had all the information we need about Vegas from the FBI and ATF, and what if media outlets focused on giving us accurate news rather than propaganda designed to encourage support for gun control? I know, crazy thought, right? I'm Dan Wass, and this has been another AmmoLand News Second Amendment Update. Tell us what you think in the comments below, and share this with your family and friends to help support AmmoLand News, America's oldest Second Amendment news outlet.